Stop! You cannot escape!
Leave me alone!
Stop! You cannot escape!
I won't go back!
Oh no!
This Thing Called Marriage, Season 2. Part 13. When danger haunts a life, it does not rest until the life disappears. And when destiny hides a child, even the forest must become a shelter. After Maggie found her parents lying lifeless in front of their compound, she was shattered. She cried bitterly. "Where do I go from here?" she whispered to herself. "I don't have any other family. I don't know any other village apart from Acom. I was born and raised here. How do I suddenly start a new life without my parents? God of heaven, come to my rescue." As she stood there, confused and trembling, she suddenly heard footsteps again. The guards were returning. They were speaking loudly among themselves. But the king said there were 3 of them, the man, his wife, and his daughter. "Where could the daughter be?" one asked. "Maybe she's inside the hut," another replied. "We didn't search everywhere. We have to go back and make sure we finish her once and for all." "Yes," they all agreed. "Let's do it." Maggie froze. Her father was right. "If I don't leave now, they will not stop until they finish me and my unborn baby," she said under her breath. Without hesitation, she ran. She ran as fast as her legs could carry her, through the village path, into the forest. She ran all day and into the night until her strength failed her. Exhausted, she collapsed under a tree and fell asleep. The next morning, she woke up weak and dizzy. Her throat was dry. Her body ached from fear and hunger. She began walking downhill in search of water. After some time, she found a small running stream deep inside the forest. She bent down to drink. Suddenly, she heard a firm voice behind her. "Young lady, what are you doing here?" She turned in fear. A hunter stood there, holding his bow. "It's not safe for you to be deep in this forest alone. Are you all right? Where are you coming from?" Maggie's heart pounded. She remembered her father's warning, "Stay hidden." "My name is Mirabelle," she said, stammering. "I am lost. I can't find my way. I was thirsty, so I stopped to drink water." The hunter studied her for a moment. "You are deep inside the forest. This is no place for a young woman alone. If you don't mind, follow me back to my village. From there, you can find your way." "Thank you, sir," she replied quickly. And so Maggie, now bearing the name Mirabelle, followed the hunter back to his village. When they arrived at his house, his wife welcomed them. "My love, who is this?" she asked. "I found her in the forest," the hunter explained. "She seems lost, so I brought her home." "You're welcome, my dear," the woman said kindly. "What is your name?" "Mirabelle, Ma," she replied softly. "Where are you from?" Maggie hesitated. I don't remember," she murmured, tears filling her eyes. "Don't cry," the woman said gently. "You are safe here." They gave her food and shelter. She ate quietly and lay down to rest that night. But sleep did not come. The image of her parents lying in blood would not leave her mind. "I'm sorry, Mother. Forgive me, Father," she whispered. "I never meant to bring this upon you." She cried silently but reminded herself she had to stay strong for her unborn child. Outside the hut, the hunter's wife overheard her crying. She heard her mention my unborn baby. Later that night, she spoke to her husband. "I think the girl is pregnant," she said. I heard her consoling herself and mentioning her unborn baby. The hunter looked surprised. "If she is pregnant, what of it?" he asked. His wife lowered her voice. "We have been married for many years without a child. Could this be a sign? If she is truly pregnant, maybe we could ask her to give us the baby after delivery." The hunter frowned. "Why are you speaking this way? Even if she is pregnant, how does that make the child ours? She is young and confused, the wife replied. She has no family. She may not be ready to raise a baby. Perhaps she will agree. And if she refuses, the hunter asked. Leave that to me, she answered calmly. Don't say a word to her for now. Let us observe first. They both agreed and went to sleep. The next morning, Maggie woke early. She greeted them respectfully and swept the entire compound. She tried to be useful and cheerful. The hunter's wife smiled. You are a hardworking girl. My husband and I are happy to have you here. They ate breakfast together. Then the woman asked suddenly, are you pregnant? Maggie looked up slowly. Yes, Ma. How far along are you? I think about 3 months, Maggie replied. My mother said it was the first trimester. The woman nodded. How do you plan to take care of yourself and your baby? Maggie looked down. I don't know. I am confused. I wish I knew what to do. The woman continued carefully. If someone offered to take responsibility for your child after delivery, so you could start a new life, would you agree? Maggie shook her head immediately. No, Ma. I cannot live without my child. She is the only family I have left. I cannot give her away. The woman paused. What do you mean by she? How do you know it is a girl? Maggie answered confidently. My father told me before he died. He was a great herbalist. I believe his words. The woman forced a smile. Don't worry, Mirabelle, she said gently. Nobody will take your child from you. I was only asking. But the smile did not reach her heart. As Maggie continued eating, thinking she had found safety, another plan was quietly forming around her and
You don't
her
know
unborn
yet,
baby.
for this was just the beginning of my misery. At that point, I felt life was going to get better, but soon I got the worst shock of my life. Somebody help me! Is there anyone around that can help me out? I need help!
This Thing Called Marriage, Season 2 Part 14. When hunger hides behind kindness, it waits patiently for the right moment to strike. And when a desperate heart finds shelter, it must still guard its treasure. That morning, after Maggie finished sweeping the compound, the hunter and his wife sat outside eating. They called her to join them. She sat quietly. The hunter's wife looked at her gently and then asked in a careful tone. Mirabelle, if you give birth and you see someone ready to take responsibility for your baby, would you give your baby out so you can start a new life? You are still young and helpless. Maggie did not hesitate. No. I can't, she replied firmly. I cannot give out my baby. She is the only family I have left. I cannot ever give out my child. The woman tilted her head. How do you know it is a girl? You haven't given birth yet. Maggie answered calmly. My father told me before he died. He was a seer. He sees beyond what human eyes can see. I believe him. Oh wow, the woman responded with a soft smile. That's amazing. Then she added quickly. I was only asking. Nobody is taking your child away from you. Make yourself comfortable here. My husband and I will assist you and shelter you until you put to bed. After that, if you have somewhere else to go, you may go. Maggie, now known as Mirabelle in that village, felt relief wash over her. She bent slightly in gratitude. Thank you. God bless you both, she said sincerely. She believed she had finally found safety. Months passed. Maggie's stomach grew steadily. She carried her pregnancy with hope and anxiety, dreaming of the day she would hold her baby. But while she dreamed, the hunter's wife carried different thoughts in her heart. One evening, Maggie returned from the stream after fetching water. She climbed the small hill leading to the house and entered the hut. Suddenly, She felt a sharp pain in her lower abdomen. She paused. She thought it was normal discomfort. As a first-time mother, she did not understand that labor had already started the previous night and was now becoming serious. The pain increased. The hunter's wife rushed to her. "What is it?" "My stomach, it hurts," Maggie managed to say. The woman quickly supported her and took her inside. "Auntie, will you call the midwife?" Maggie asked weakly. The woman responded immediately. "Oh Mirabelle, I am a midwife. I know how to deliver babies. There is no need to call anyone else." Maggie believed her. The pains grew stronger. The woman put water on the fire. She brought out clean cloths. She moved confidently, doing everything so well that Maggie did not suspect anything. That night, after hours of labor, Maggie gave birth to a healthy baby girl. The baby cried loudly. Strong. Alive. The woman cleaned the baby briefly and placed her in Maggie's arms. Maggie held her daughter and tears filled her eyes. Then she noticed something. A birthmark. On the baby's back. "My mother had this same mark," she whispered. "Does it mean she has come back to me?" She wept softly. "I wish my mother was here to see this day. God, grant her and my father peace wherever they are." Soon, the hunter's wife returned with herbs in a calabash and water in a basin. Outside, the hunter stood anxiously like a man expecting his first child. When he heard the baby cry, he lifted his hands in joy. "Praise be to the gods," he said. The woman cleaned the baby properly, wrapped her in a blanket, and stepped outside briefly to show her husband. "She has delivered," she said. He smiled broadly. The woman returned inside and finished cleaning Maggie. Then she handed Maggie a calabash. "Drink these herbs," she said. "They will calm your stomach and prevent excessive bleeding. You will not be strong enough to look after the baby yet. Let me take care of her for now. All you need is rest." Maggie smiled gratefully. "Thank you so much. God bless you." She drank the herbs. Before she could finish speaking, her eyes grew heavy. She fell asleep immediately. It was as if something else had been mixed inside. She slept deeply. Weak. Unaware. When Maggie finally woke up, it was already afternoon. The hut was silent. Too silent. She tried to sit up. Her body felt heavy. "Auntie," she called. "Uncle." No answer. She thought maybe they were resting after being awake all night. She forced herself to stand and walked slowly outside. She went into the hunter's hut. It was empty. No baby. No hunter. No wife. Her heart stopped. She searched again. Nothing. Her baby was gone. Maggie screamed. She fell to the ground, crying uncontrollably. "Where is my child? Where have you taken my child? Is this a dream? If this is a dream, wake me up." She tried to run but her body was too weak. She had not bathed or eaten since giving birth. Her legs failed her. The world spun. She collapsed. When a desperate heart trusts the wrong hand, even joy can turn into ashes overnight. And when a mother's cry rises from the dust, heaven itself must listen.
My baby is gone. Somebody help me. Do you know how it feels? Can you imagine the pain I've been through? Am I not good enough? Imagine what it feels like for a mother to lose her child the very day she delivered.
I'm sorry, Maggie, I never knew.
King Duncan, don't patronize me with words. You never kept any of your promises.
But I looked everywhere for you, Maggie.
This is just the beginning. I will continue. Your father, the late king, killed my parents and made me homeless because of his greed for power. When the lion sends others to kill the cub, he should not be surprised when the jungle remembers.
This Thing Called Marriage, Season 2 Part 15. When truth sleeps for years, it does not die, it waits. And when destiny is stolen, it does not disappear, it returns with a louder voice. When Maggie finished explaining to the king how she had given birth in the hunter's house and woke up the next morning to find them gone with her baby, her voice trembled. She continued. I ran toward the village in confusion. I didn't even know where I was going. I just ran, hoping I would see them on the road. But before I could get far, I collapsed. She paused. Some young women returning from the stream that afternoon found me lying on the ground. They thought I was dead. They screamed and called for help. The villagers gathered and carried her to the hut of the village head. When she regained consciousness, she was given water and food. They asked her who she was. My name is Mirabelle, she told them, still hiding her true identity. I delivered my baby yesterday in the hunter's hut. But when I woke up this morning, my baby was gone. The chief and the villagers looked at one another in confusion. Young woman, the chief said calmly, we have never seen you in this village before. No one here knows you. And the hunter you speak of and his wife, they are not from this village. They were travelers. They rented that hut for some time. We do not even know where they came from. Maggie shook her head. No, this can't be true. So you mean my child is gone just like that? What do I do? How do I live without my child? Some villagers tried to console her. Others whispered. She sounds mad. Maybe she lost her mind. One by one, they left. Until she was alone. Maggie returned to the hunter's hut and stayed there for months until she regained her strength. The day she decided to leave and search for another village where she could begin again, she met an old man on the road struggling with a heavy load. She helped him carry it. Unknown to her, that meeting would change her life. When they reached his village, she dropped the load and was about to leave when the old man turned to her. My daughter, he said gently, whose child are you? I am a stranger, sir. What is your name? This time she answered truthfully. My name is Maggie. She thought to herself, I am far from Achem now. No one here will trace me. The old man offered her water and food. After she ate, he asked, where are you going? I don't know, she replied. I have no family. I will wander until I find shelter. The old man looked at her with pity. Stay with me. Be my daughter. I have no children. No family. Let us become family. And so Maggie found shelter. She lived with the old man in his village. Years later, she met a man who asked for her hand in marriage. He paid her bride price to the old man, whom everyone believed was her father. She married him. But she hid her past. She pretended she had never had a child. She took herbs to tighten her body and erase any signs of motherhood. Her husband never suspected. They settled peacefully for a time. After the old man died, Maggie continued her life. But years passed. She could not conceive again. The herbs the hunter's wife had given her after childbirth, herbs meant to weaken and possibly kill her, had damaged her womb instead. She survived. But her womb did not fully recover. This brought trouble. Her husband grew impatient. Eventually, he impregnated another woman. And Maggie was sent away in shame. She turned toward the king and the elders. That is the life I lived. The palace fell silent. Esther stepped forward in tears. If what you are saying is true, she asked, how am I your daughter? You lost your child at birth. How can you recognize me after 20 years? Maggie looked at her. I did not rush to claim you. Remember the day my husband sent me away? Everyone mocked me. But you stayed. You consoled me. One night, you came to cook for me. After cooking, you went to bed behind the hut. I stepped out to ease myself, and I saw the birthmark on your back. The same family birthmark my mother and I have. I tried to ignore it. But then I noticed another mark on your lap. She turned slowly to the king. The exact birthmark the king has. Same position. Same shape. Gasps filled the palace. I was shocked. I thought it was coincidence. But the more I watched you, the more I saw my mother in you. Your voice. Your manner. When I quietly made inquiries about who your parents were, I was told you were assumed to be the daughter of a hunter and his wife, who once lived briefly in this village years ago and disappeared. Silence. The palace erupted into murmurs. Esther stood frozen. The king was speechless. When blood calls blood, even 20 years of silence cannot bury it. And when destiny returns to the throne, the past must answer for its
So you
crimes.
see, Esther, that's how I found out that you're my stolen daughter who was taken away from me many years ago. So Esther, you're truly my daughter. And that is why I never stopped fighting for you.
I can't believe this.
King Duncan II, now that I've explained everything to you and the elders, so you still deny my daughter, or so you want emote proof?
Now it's time to investigate your claim and make right that which was made wrong. Now it's time to investigate your claim and make right that which was made wrong. If you are indeed of my blood, then let the mark speak where words cannot. Step forward.
This thing called marriage, Season 2 Part 16. When truth finally stands before power, even the crown must answer. And when destiny returns to the throne, no voice in the palace can silence it. After Maggie finished explaining how she suffered, how her child was taken from her, and how life pushed her from one hardship to another, the palace fell silent. The king rose slowly from his throne. His voice was heavy with anger and pain. Maggie. I never knew. My father told me he wanted me to marry the
You are
Prime
here
Minister's
because
daughter.
your marriage to the Prime Minister's
I
daughter is in
rejected her.
21 days.
I
This has
stood
been
my
arranged.
ground and said it was you I
Father, why the
wanted.
minister's daughter? I don't
But
even
when
know
I
her.
went to look for
My
you,
son, it is
you were
tradition, you
nowhere
must
to be
understand.
found. He looked around the hall. When the villagers discovered your parents' bodies, you were gone. Some said you killed them and ran away. Others said maybe you were dead too. My father ordered that they be buried in their compound without proper burial rites. I commanded the villagers to search for you every day for 2 years. We did not find you. His voice broke. That was when I began to give up. My marriage to the Prime Minister's daughter was arranged and done. She died mysteriously on our wedding night. A wave of murmurs moved through the palace. I married again, he continued. And my second wife also died. The chief priest later told me I would never be able to live peacefully with another woman except you, until I knew whether you were dead or alive. I have lived without a wife or child for over 20 years. The throne is threatened. My lineage is uncertain. I have lived in comfort, Maggie, but I have never been a happy man. Tears filled his eyes. And yesterday you suddenly appeared here claiming to have my child. Do you know what that means to me? To the throne. To the entire people of Acom. He looked toward Esther. If this young woman is truly your daughter and my child as you claim, then who is the child you came with? Esther stepped forward respectfully. Your Majesty, he is my son. I gave birth to him just over a week ago before misfortune forced me to run from my village. Auntie Maggie brought us here. What misfortune? The king asked sharply. But Maggie quickly interrupted. Your Majesty, we will address that matter once we settle the truth before us. An elder stepped forward. Your Highness, he said calmly, with all that this woman has explained, it appears this young lady may truly be your child. But there is only one way to be certain. He turned toward Esther. Every member of the royal family is born with a birthmark on the lap. This woman, Maggie, has claimed that the young lady possesses the same royal birthmark. If it matches that of the king and the royal lineage, then no further proof will be needed. The palace grew tense. The king nodded. Esther, step forward. Esther walked slowly to the center of the hall. With trembling hands, she lifted her skirt slightly. On her lap, clear and unmistakable, was the exact royal birthmark. The same shape. The same position. The entire palace erupted into shocked murmurs. The king stared. Then he shouted with emotion. "This is my child. She is indeed my daughter. A princess. Royal blood. My heir." He lifted his staff. "People of Acom, behold your princess and successor." One after another, the guards and elders bowed deeply. "Long live your royal majesty. Welcome home, princess, to the land of your fathers. We pledge to serve you in truth and in loyalty." The palace echoed with voices of allegiance.
Long live our princess, your royal highness. We're here to serve you better. You're welcome, our princess. Please forgive us and take your place once again. Yes, we agree.
Auntie Maggie, what's going on here? I don't understand. What is everyone bowing to me?
By the authority vested in me as King Duncan, second leader of the Sun and custodian of the throne of Akam, I hereby declare that the rightful heir to this kingdom has been found.
This thing called marriage, Season 2 Part 17. When destiny is proven, even kings must bow to it. And when lost blood returns to the throne, the earth itself rejoices. After Esther revealed the birthmark, the exact royal mark carried by the lineage of Acom, the palace erupted. Shock. Joy. Disbelief. Then the king lifted his staff and declared before everyone, "Behold your princess, the true heir to the throne of Acom kingdom." The guards rushed forward and bowed deeply. "We are at your service, your royal majesty. May you live long." The elders followed, bowing in recognition of her title. One of the senior elders stepped forward. "Welcome to the palace of Acom," he said with solemn respect. "We receive you with utmost honor and all rights due to you, my princess." He turned toward the king. "Now that she has been found, according to the laws of this land, she must be crowned princess immediately. Within 3 days, her coronation must be held. And it must be honored by all 7 neighboring villages. They shall gather to pay their respects to the rightful heir, in accordance with our traditions." The court nodded in agreement. Esther slowly stood and raised her hand. "May I speak?" she asked quietly. The king responded immediately. "Speak, my princess. Who dares silence the most honored position in this land? You are now above reproach. You may speak freely." Esther took a breath. "If I am truly the princess and heir to the throne, what then happens to Auntie Maggie? My newly found mother? If I remain here as princess, what becomes of her?" She walked toward Maggie and embraced her tightly. In tears, she continued. "She is the reason I am alive today. I cannot believe you are my mother, and yet I am proud. I am proud to tell the world that a woman as fearless, kind, and courageous as you is my mother. I am the luckiest woman on earth." Maggie broke into tears. The palace fell silent. Then the king stepped forward. "She will be my queen." He paused. "That is, if she permits." The entire hall gasped. The king slowly went down on one knee. "Margaret Ekpo, will you marry me? I never imagined this day would come when I would ask you before the whole kingdom. But the gods have brought you back to me. Please marry me. Be my queen. Rule beside me. Let us guide our child together and groom her into the leader this kingdom will look up to in the future." His voice trembled. Maggie wept openly. "Duncan, the man of my youth. I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. I remember our love as if it was yesterday. That night brought me pain and darkness, yet it was still my most cherished memory." The king's eyes filled with tears. "Forgive me, on behalf of my late father. Forgive the silence. Forgive the years." Maggie stepped forward and embraced him in acceptance. The palace erupted into celebration. Joy filled the halls of Acom. The king stood tall once more. Let the news of my daughter's return travel far and near. Let every village under this kingdom be informed. They are all invited to the coronation of the princess and the union of myself and my childhood love, Maggie. Let it be law, whoever refuses to attend shall answer to the throne. The guards bowed and left swiftly. Messengers rode out in all directions. The elders dispersed to prepare for the coronation in 3 days. That night, Maggie and the king remained in the royal chambers, awake until dawn, speaking softly of lost years and unforgotten love. As for Esther, she could not sleep. She sat quietly in her chamber, holding her son in her arms. She looked down at him and whispered softly, "Victor, what does this new life mean for us?"
Victor, my son, now we have a new life. Let's hope we find peace. Your father rejected us. His village made mockery of us. I thought life was over for us. But God changes everything. Now we have a home. We have hope.
Maggie, that night was magical. The memories lived in my head for 24 years. I love you so much, Maggie.
I love you too.
Tomorrow at the coronation, I will show you something. It's a surprise. Esther, please forgive me. I never knew you were innocent before I found out you were already gone. Esther, please.
Frank, you deserve my forgiveness, but not my love.
Esther, please.
This thing called marriage, Season 2 Part 18. When the drum of destiny begins to beat, even the deaf feel the vibration in their bones. And when truth rises to the surface, no hand can push it back into the river. After the king's declaration, the news of the upcoming coronation of the king's lost daughter spread like wildfire across the 7 villages under the kingdom of Acom, including Frank's village. Messengers moved from market squares to village centers. Drummers announced it loudly. No household must miss this royal gathering, they warned. Whoever dishonors this invitation dishonors the throne. Fear of the king's wrath alone was enough to make everyone prepare. But whispers followed closely behind the news. The king's lost daughter, some murmured in disbelief. Who is she? Where did she suddenly appear from? One man scoffed. Maybe the king has grown desperate and decided to produce a daughter to secure his throne. Another replied, or perhaps he adopted one secretly. A third shrugged. Let us go and see with our own eyes. The truth will reveal itself when we arrive. And so preparations began in every village. Back at the palace, the king and Maggie sat together in his chambers, speaking softly like 2 young lovers who had just found each other again. They laughed about their first night together years ago. How fearless you were, Maggie teased gently. And how stubborn you were, the king replied with a soft smile. You were the only woman who ever dared to challenge me. He grew quiet for a moment. Our love story is unlike any other, he said. 24 years lost, yet here we are again. Then he excused himself. Give me a few minutes. He stepped into the inner chamber and returned shortly after with a beautifully carved wooden box. He opened it before her. Inside were royal garments, rich fabrics embroidered with gold threads. My love, he said softly, these are your royal garments for tomorrow. You will be my queen. And you will dress as the queen that you are. Maggie's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Duncan, for everything. They embraced quietly. The next morning, the palace was alive with excitement. Inside her chamber, Esther sat quietly when 3 royal maidens entered and bowed deeply. Good morning, Your Majesty, one of them said respectfully. We have been chosen by the king to serve you and ensure you lack nothing. They held up colorful royal garments. These were specially designed for you by the royal designer. Another maiden added gently, as for baby Victor, the royal midwife will be here shortly. The king has ordered that you undergo no stress from now on. Everything the child needs will be attended to. Esther looked around slowly. It still felt unreal. The day of the coronation finally arrived. Cows, goats, and rams were slaughtered. Royal chefs from across the kingdom gathered to prepare a feast worthy of history. The banquet tables stretched long and wide. Villagers from all 7 communities poured into the palace grounds. Among them were the same women who once banished Esther from Frank's village. Frank came too, walking with his friends. They joked loudly along the way. Who knows, one laughed. Maybe the princess will choose one of us as her groom. Another added mockingly, if she is not ugly. They all burst into laughter. They had no idea. When everyone was seated, the king and Maggie walked majestically into the court. The palace erupted in cheers. But among the people from Maggie's former village, confusion spread. That queen looks like Maggie from our village, one woman whispered. You're right, they resemble each other. But it can't be her, another argued. How would Maggie become queen? They watched anxiously. The king raised his hand and silence fell instantly. Today, he began, is a joyful and sacred day for the people of Acom and all its neighboring villages. Today, our princess shall be revealed and crowned in accordance with the traditions of this land. The crowd leaned forward. Bring in the princess, the king commanded. The royal maidens escorted Esther into the court. She walked slowly, gracefully, holding her head high. The moment she stepped fully into view. Silence. Then shock. The women from her former village gasped. This is impossible. It cannot be. Is that not Esther? Frank stared. His face drained of color. Before anyone could speak further, he collapsed. His friends rushed to him. Frank! Frank! Wake up! Please don't do this to us. We are as shocked as you are. Frank, be a man, wake up. The entire court buzzed with murmurs. And at the center of it all, Esther stood, calm and royal. Destiny had finally spoken.
Life is a journey, and no one knows what the end will be like. My being here today is a living example never to give up.
Take this lifeless man away from my sight now! Get him out! Don't bring him back!
This thing called marriage, season 2 finale. When destiny finally sits on the throne, those who mocked it bow in silence. And when truth walks into the open, even the proudest hearts tremble before it. The moment Esther walked into the inner court of the palace, silence swallowed the air. The village women stared in disbelief. It can't be possible. Esther, a princess. When did this happen? How? Their whispers moved like restless wind. Frank stood frozen. His eyes widened. His lips parted. Before anyone could fully understand what was happening, he collapsed. Flat to the ground. His friends rushed to him. Frank! Frank! They shook him desperately. But he did not respond. The king frowned in surprise. Take him to the royal hospital immediately, he ordered. Since this happened in my palace, I will ensure he is treated. The guards carried Frank away. The king turned back, still confused. Who is this young man? He asked slowly. Why would the sight of you cause him to faint, my princess? Esther smiled. But her smile carried pain. Your Majesty, she said calmly, that young man is my ex-husband, and the father of my son, Victor. The court gasped. What? The king exclaimed. Explain yourself. I am confused. Somebody make this make sense. Esther continued, her voice steady. He is the man who subjected me to public mockery just days after I gave birth to his child. His mother tried to kill me during my pregnancy. When she failed and later died, she accused me of causing her death. Frank believed her. So he made it public that I killed his mother. I was humiliated, banished, separated from my newborn child. If not for Auntie Maggie, who risked everything to protect me and my son, we might not be alive today. The palace fell silent. Esther continued. When I begged him for time to recover from childbirth so we could search for the truth together, he refused. He turned his back on me. The king's face hardened. How dare they, he thundered. How dare commoners treat my princess in such a manner? Give me an order, he said firmly. If you want the heads of every person in that village who made you cry, say it, and it shall be done. But Esther shook her head gently. No, your majesty. Let them be. Let Frank be. I am grateful things happened the way they did. If not, I might never have found my way here. The king studied her with pride. He ordered that Frank be brought back into the inner court once he recovered. Moments later, Frank was led in, pale, ashamed, trembling. He fell to his knees before Esther. Please forgive me, he cried. Let us start again. For the sake of our son. Let us rebuild our love. Esther looked at him quietly. I have forgiven you, Frank. Frank lifted his head in sudden relief. Thank you. Thank you, Esther. But I cannot take you back, she added. The excitement left his face. I forgive you, she continued, but we can no longer be husband and wife. You do not deserve my love and loyalty. You were not brave when I needed you. You only loved me when it was convenient. Tell me, Frank, if I were not a princess today, would you still want me? Frank lowered his head in shame. I am sorry, Esther. I still love you. Love is not enough, Frank, she replied. It takes courage. Sacrifice. Patience. You loved me only when it was easy. The villagers stood speechless. The king rose. My daughter, according to tradition, you may now choose another man to be your husband. Your husband will become king after me, and your children will rule after you. The crowd murmured in anticipation. But Esther stood slowly. Your Majesty. I wish to ask something. The king nodded. What if I refuse to remarry? The entire court froze. What if my son Victor becomes king after me? Would that be allowed? Silence. Deep. Heavy. The elders exchanged looks. The crowd whispered in disbelief. The king stood motionless. And for the first time, the throne of Acom trembled not from war, but from a woman's decision. To be continued.
Abomination! How can the princess refuse to be in marriage and want to rule over men? Quiet, everyone! I, King Duncan II, leader of the people of the sun, name you today. You shall be called Prince Victor Duncan III, the heir to the throne of the people of Akam Kingdom. You shall rule after me as king, and any man who stands against your reign shall be taken by the sun.
This Thing Called Marriage, Season 2 Part 20 Final Episode. When a river refuses to flow in the old path, it does not ask permission from the stones. And when destiny chooses a child, no council of elders can unchoose him. Esther never took Frank back. She had forgiven him, yes. But forgiveness did not mean return. Frank cried. He begged. He promised to change. But Esther did not move. The elders stood silent, shocked, yet unable to interrupt. Then Esther turned toward the throne. Your Majesty, my father. If I refuse to remarry, can I remain princess? And can my son, Victor, rule after you? Silence swallowed the court. The king was speechless. Before he could respond, an elder rose angrily. No. This is an abomination. It has never been heard in Acom that a princess son from another land should rule over us. And how can a woman refuse marriage and speak of ruling over men? This cannot stand. The murmuring grew louder. Then, quiet. The king's voice thundered across the hall. How dare you raise your voice in my court against the will of the princess? Have you forgotten your place? The hall fell still. The king stood. People of Acom. I, King Duncan, second leader of the people of the sun, stand to make a decree. And these words shall be law, honored for generations yet unborn. He continued. According to the ancient customs of our land, any child born outside a formally recognized marriage belongs to the woman's lineage. And you all know that I never formally recognized any marriage between my daughter and the man called Frank. Whatever arrangements were made in that distant village are hereby declared void. He raised his staff. From this day forward, Victor is my son. I adopt him openly before this kingdom. His name shall be Prince Victor Duncan III.
Hence I declare
he
that
shall
my
rule
grandson
after me.
Victor will rule as
A wave of
king
shock
after me.
moved through the crowd. And after him, his children shall continue the royal bloodline. Anyone who breathes the air of Acom shall honor this decree. The murmurs continued, but none dared challenge him. The elders slowly stood and bowed. Victor was brought forward. The king lifted the child high. Victor Duncan III, third leader of the people of the sun. Because my daughter bore you, you are royal blood. I present you before the ancestors. Any man who stands against you shall not live to see the sunrise. The seed planted in pain has become a tree that shades a kingdom. The child once chased from a hut now stands beneath the crown of the sun. The court erupted in cheers. But one man did not cheer. Frank. He fell to his knees. This is injustice. You may take my wife, but not my son. Victor is still my blood. Please, let me have my son. If Esther does not want me, at least give me my child. He wept openly. But the guards dragged him out. The celebration continued. Drums sounded. People danced. Food was shared. The king sat on his throne, holding Victor in his arms. Thanks be to the gods, he whispered. Who would have believed that I, Duncan, would one day be called father, and even grandfather? The gods are indeed wise. When the ceremony ended, the villagers returned home, carrying stories that would live for generations.
I still can't believe what happened back at the king's palace today. Me too, I'm still shocked to my bone. Imagine Esther that we all look down on suddenly become a princess, the most powerful princess at that. Who would have thought of this day? But guys, did you see Frank's face? I feel pity for him. He lost everything. That's too bad. Well, he cost it for himself. He wasn't the best husband. He is even lucky the king didn't behead him.
Today I got the shock of my life. God, I'm still in shock. Thank God I came and witnessed this myself. Seriously, this is the most unimaginable thing I've ever seen. I wouldn't have believed it if I had not attended the coronation. Seriously, how did Frank think Esther was going to take him back? But wait, how on earth? Imagine the gods, he has to ask for forgiveness after subjecting her to death. But Esther was too proud, as if she's now bigger than the whole world. She's lucky though, now she's untouchable. Surprising after everything. Thank God she didn't take her revenge on us for all we did to her. If she was as wicked as us, by now we all would have been dead. Thank goodness. Let's hurry home, it's getting late.
What have I done to myself? How do I live with this? Mothers bring blessings to their children, but mine brought me nothing other than pain and reproach. Who would have thought that Esther was innocent? I was only holding my mother's dying wish. I guess I have to live with this regret for the rest of my life. I hope someday Esther forgives me and takes me back. Who could ever thought that I, King Duncan, will have someone call me Father Gods of our land? This is still a shock to me. The seed planted in pain has become a tree that shades a kingdom. The child once chased from a hut now stands beneath the crown of the sun. The throne did not gain an heir by chance. It regained what was stolen. Victor Duncan III, you shall live in good health, peace, and wealth. You will rule over this kingdom with wisdom.
The woman they cast out now walks where kings rise to greet her. The tears of yesterday have watered the crown of today. I was pushed from a compound, but destiny pushed me into a kingdom. The same hands that wiped my tears now lift my son to the throne. What was meant to end me became the path that elevated me. They thought they were closing my story, not knowing they were opening my destiny. How they separated from me now stands inseparable from his heritage. Marriage did not end me, destiny revealed me. It ended in praise, family rejoice with me, for I can now live happily and have peace. They spilled blood to silence me, but the earth refused to swallow my seed. The night they chased me into the forest did not know it was escorting me into destiny. I ran as a fragment of a throne. They spilled blood to silence me, but the earth refused to swallow my seed. A womb they tried to destroy has given birth to a kingdom. I was hunted like prey, yet I rise as the mother of kings. They thought they ended my lineage in the bush, not knowing the bush was guarding royalty. The fire they lit for me became the torch that lights this palace. The tears of a daughter became the strength of a mother. I buried my pain in silence, but destiny watered it in secret. The ancestors did not forget my cry. They only waited for the right season to answer. The child I lost to betrayal has returned to rule. The woman who survived the forest now mothers the son. This is your sign never to give up, no matter what you're going through. I am Margaret Ekpo, daughter of the sun. Witness that destiny can be delayed but can never be changed. And this brings us to the end of this thing called marriage. Watch out for the next story.